Just a quick note before this free video. If you click like and subscribe, I'd be very thankful. Maybe the best show of the week. Mid-South Wrestling.
All right, then.
Thank you, Randy. They were tremendous production values. I came up with the idea at the last second. So don't blame anybody but me.
We watched Mid-South Wrestling, Season 6, Episode 12, March 24th, 1984. Boyd Pierce and Jim Ross open the show, but there's a negative tone in the air right away. I say, folks, today we got Terry Taylor versus Butch Reed in the TV tournament semifinal, but something happened just before we went on the air. Bill Watts was supposed to be here, but Jim wants to tell him what happened. Boyd can't even speak on it. Jim Ross repeats, folks, we do have Terry Taylor versus Butch Reed. You want to stay tuned for that. We'll see who faces Crusher Khrushchev in the finals, but just before we came in the air, Bill Watts was doing an interview with Terry Taylor. I thought, that doesn't sound that bad. He's a nice guy. So Bill's interviewing Terry. They play his hype video again, the same one. And finally, the actual interview starts, and Terry just says, I got to face Butch Reed. I'm really nervous, but I'm lucky to be here. And that's it. I'm like, what the hell? Why? Why even show that at all, let alone what was tragic about it?
You're soon going to find out, brother.
So there's more. Jim Ross explains, next, Bill Watts was interviewing Butch Reed, and they did several times say something tragic occurred. So Watts is interviewing Butch, and we get a Butch Reed video set to a very generic knockoff of another one, Bites the Dust. This is a classic 1980s pro wrestling video. He's lifting lots of weights. He's doing tackles and slams. He's putting on his sunglasses. And every once in a while, for no particular reason, they will turn the tint knob on the VCR, and the mat turns green. For no reason.
Well, it's because they could do it.
Yep.
You got to use whatever graphics are at your disposal.
That's right. So we come back to talk to Butch, and Butch is ranting about $10,000. That makes my blood just flow. He's happy about all this. Jim Cornette interrupts. He's like next to the camera. They get to a wide shot so you can see him. Watts is furious. Butch Reed's annoyed. He doesn't want his promo time taken away by this ranting lunatic. They try to conduct the business, but this is a distraction, of course, and the Midnight Express attacks Bill Watts from behind. Butch throws up his hands, walks away. Not his fight, not his problem. And they're beating Bill Watts, and Bill Watts is selling this like literal death. They're hitting him with the lightest kicks and stomps you ever saw, and he's not moving, may not have been breathing.
He's actually selling it like a guy who'd never done an angle ever before, which is quite ironic. He laid there like a dead body, and they're stomping on him, and I mean, he did end up gigging, and he's bleeding all over the place. But I cannot say I was impressed by the selling of Bill Watts during this angle, but it was that's a pretty heavy angle, dude. They killed Bill Watts.
It's funny, on this show, you remember it was in 84, and so things were different then. And it was a family show for the most part. So when they show blood, they don't focus on it. They don't zoom in on it. You know it's there, but they're back far enough so it's not gruesome so the kids can watch it.
I guess. I mean, I saw plenty of stuff that was pretty freaking disgusting for those kids. And not only did he bleed, if that wasn't traumatic enough for the youngsters, but later they explained he was dragged out of the building completely unconscious.
Yeah,
and this was like 20 minutes later. He was still unconscious from this beating.
Yeah.
I was like, is there a medical staff? If you get beaten down and you're still unconscious 20 minutes later, that's usually a pretty bad thing.
No, you don't have an easy road home from that. Here, at this point in the show, they say he was severely lacerated by 3 people.
He was.
Hitting him with some kind of weapon. But we got a great lineup of matches. And the show goes on, and the opener, I swear to God, is Obie Davis and Josh Stroud versus the Midnight Express.
Yeah,
and my first thought was, this is completely ridiculous. They're just letting these guys wrestle like nothing happened when they just killed the commissioner, wherever the hell he is. And I thought about it a little bit. I said, well, I guess if they took out Bill Watts, who else is going to stop him?
Well, exactly. Yeah. You know who's going to stop him? Boyd Pierce. And he wasn't going to stop him. Although I was a big fan of Boyd Pierce on this show because
I saw a different side of Boyd this week.
He laid down the law on Jim Cornette later. But yes, they destroyed Bill Watts, and then they're just like all over the show. And so, yeah, at first you're like, this doesn't make any fucking sense here. But then, yes, it's true. Well, the guy in charge, he got carted off. There's nobody to make decisions. The show has to go on. They can't just not air their television show. And so, like, the Midnights are out there wrestling, and then Jim Cornette takes out commentary, and, like, he's just being so obnoxious. And I've talked about before, I love Boyd Pierce. I mean, I love this guy. It's not like he's a great announcer, but he's the greatest Boyd Pierce. He's there with a smile at the beginning of every show. He's welcoming us viewers. He's so thankful we're watching the show. He's like always supporting the baby faces. He's disgusted with the heels. He always has a nice wrap up and he wishes us a great week. I love Boyd Pierce. He's just like the friendliest, your friendly neighborhood grandpa. But he is being abused verbally by Jim Cornette. And the longer Cornette goes, the more you feel sympathy for Boyd Pierce, and the more you just want somebody to, like, get one over on Jim Cornette. And as we'll get to, Boyd finally pulled the trump card on this guy. Have you grabbed your F4WOnline.com shirt yet? Well, we got a bunch of them. They're up in the store right now. F4WOnline.com/shirts. You can grab your -5 stars shirt, your Dave Meltzer Wrestling Observer shirts, even the brand new After Dark Radio shirt. You love Granny? We have Granny's Gang shirts. Have you ever won a shoot battle royal? Probably not, but you can tell people you did. So check out the store. All of these great shirts and more. It's through Pro Wrestling Tees. F4WOnline.com/shirts. That's F4WOnline.com/shirts.